So in today's video, we are talking wireless transmitters, specifically the Vaxis Atom 500 SDI edition, and using it with the RED Komodo and Blackmagic Pocket 4K. The results may surprise you a little bit, and we'll talk a little bit more about that after this. Hey everybody, so welcome back. I am super stoked to be testing this Vaxis Atom 500 SDI edition. I got it really to use with the RED Komodo and the Blackmagic, and the Atom 500 SDI actually has a few features that some of the other cheaper wireless transmitters don't have that are actually more expensive than this. So first, let's kind of go over some of the specifications of this device. So the device has both SDI and HDMI, and it can be powered either via a Sony NPF battery, or you can charge it via the USB-C, which I actually plan on doing just because I'm going to be having this hooked up to the Blackmagic or the Komodo. They're both going to be using V-mount, so I'll just be grabbing a USB-C cord from the V-mount, and it just makes this a little bit lighter. Another cool feature it has is it actually has no external antenna. So the antenna is built into the device, so you don't have to worry about losing them or really just them sticking out. It's all built into this nice sleek device. There's two 1/4-inch threads to mount the device, both on the side and on the bottom. This device also lets you connect over Wi-Fi, so you don't have to use the transmitter and receiver. You can just use the transmitter, or you can use the combination of the transmitter, receiver, and the Wi-Fi devices. I actually plan on heavily using the Wi-Fi transmission, even with the RED Komodo. And you may be asking, why would I use it with the RED Komodo if the Komodo has it built in? Well, unlike the RED Komodo, you can connect multiple devices on this and it doesn't really impact the quality of the Wi-Fi signal. Whereas with the RED Komodo, and this may have to do with the fact that you can control the camera, once you start connecting more than one device, I notice the video feed starts to get a little laggy, not as solid. Whereas you can connect a bunch of devices to here and you really have a solid connection as long as you're in line of sight distance. You can have people use their iPads or their iPhones to connect to this. Now, speaking of the Wi-Fi, although in the user manual it says that there's an option in both iOS and Android Play Store, I have not been able to find the Play Store app option to use the Wi-Fi monitoring, and I'm assuming it's not out yet because I've seen in a few places it hasn't been out. So I think they put it in the manual because they plan on releasing it soon. It's just not released at the time this video has been created in December of 2020. So let's talk about latency, because I'm sure that's something everyone wants to hear. Now, when using the Wi-Fi, surprisingly you get the least amount of latency, although there is a little bit of latency when using it. Then I did tests with using a HDMI camera, which was the Pocket 4K, and I did tests using the RED Komodo, which is SDI out. So first what I did was I did a test with the Pocket 4K using the HDMI, and I hooked it up to an HDMI monitor. I did that test, and you see the latency isn't too bad. If you were doing light follow focusing, maybe like for a documentary with very light pulls, you could totally use it. If you're doing anything complicated, then there is a little bit too much latency for that. So I would say at that point, I would use this really more for monitoring and less for wireless follow focusing. The next thing I test, which is a cool feature to bring up, is this is one of the few devices where you can actually cross your inputs and outputs, meaning if you're putting in the SDI from the RED Komodo, you can actually take from the HDMI out of the receiver and plug it into an HDMI device, which is great because my monitor that's SDI in doesn't have a loop out, whereas my HDMI monitor does. So it was really cool to see that. That also means I can use my HDMI monitor when using the Komodo and just bring one monitor on shoots versus bringing a monitor specifically for the Komodo and a monitor specifically for the Blackmagic Pocket. Now, a negative I do want to bring up right here is you may notice the SDI port in this device is recessed, and I believe they did that to keep the port flush with the device so there is nothing sticking out. But the one thing I've noticed is a lot of my SDI cords, it's a little difficult to actually screw the cord in and lock it in place. I just wanted to note that it is a little bit difficult, so when you're in a rush, you just want to be careful because you obviously don't want to break anything. With the RED Komodo, it's notorious right now for the SDI port being very delicate, but luckily now that I plan on using at least the receiver HDMI only, I only have to worry about plugging the SDI into one of the devices. As far as transmission, they advertise between 400 and 500 feet when you're using the transmitter and receiver combination. I didn't test it because in all of my situations, I'm always going to be in the same building or within line of sight in less than 50 feet from this device. So for me, testing how far I can go wasn't really practical because I'm never going to use it, but there are other videos out there that do test how far you can go with these devices, and it works pretty decent, but again, for me, not really as much of an issue. Overall, I've been very happy with the Vaxis Atom 500 SDI. Again, it has some few quirks. Some of them can be fixed, some of them won't, but at the same time, for the money that it costs to get this device, for what it's valued at, it's a really great value for where this device is priced at. And on top of that, I actually got this during the Black Friday sale Vaxis was doing, which made it even more affordable. It was about $70 off if you bought it through their website directly. If you guys have any questions that I didn't cover in the video, because again, I am really talking about testing this device for what I'm going to use it for, please feel free to put them in the comments below and I'll get to them as I see them. If I need to, I will do a follow-up video on this device, but again, I've been very happy with it, and that's really going to be it for this video. If you guys got value out of today's content, please hit that like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and until next time, my name is Geoff Fagien. I'll see you guys in the next video.